Hey, folks, my last couple of episodes got thousands and thousands of questions and comments, and I'm going to answer those questions. I am going to respond to those comments today. Iran, Gen X, Gen Z, you name it. You got your Trump lovers, your Trump haters. You got a guy like me who's an independent, and we're going to break this all down. I'm going to answer and respond to all of this stuff that you yourself wrote in, and we really do appreciate that. The Rossano Report is next. Welcome to the Rossano Report. Hi, I am Joe Rossano. So, as mentioned, we have a deep divide here in the country, folks. We do. We got people who love Donald Trump. We got people who hate Donald Trump. We got people who love the United States, people who, quite frankly, hate the United States. We have a communist, that's what he is, a communist mayor in New York City. Wow, never thought I would see the day, but here we are. So let's take a look at some of your questions and some of your comments, and I'm going to go ahead and answer those. Before I do, if you could kindly, please click the subscribe button. Please click like, share. This is very important. Comment, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes of the Rossano Report. So let's take a look. Probably going to need my glasses for these. So going to ask everybody to forgive me here. Older guy here, older guy. So let's start here. Okay. We have Blair. Blair? All right. I'm just kidding. Blair. The bitter truth is Iran no longer needs a nuclear weapon to keep them from being attacked. They now own the Strait of Hormuz. The next time Israel or the U.S. bombs them, all they have to do is call Lloyd's of London and tell them they are closing the strait down until the attacks stop. Lloyd's will call all ship owners and tell them they will not be insured while the strait and the shipping will cease. Wow. Right off the bat, let me tell you what I got to do here, folks. I have to agree. That's exactly what Iran is doing. That's the trick they're playing. All right. I mean, look, if the United States wanted to take over the Strait of Hormuz, they could do it in about an hour. All right. But the only thing the Iranian regime has to do, it's a trick, is say it's closed or bomb somebody or throw a mine in the water, and the insurance companies won't cover anybody. Strait's closed. That's how it works. Blair, you're absolutely right. I got to give you that, Blair. I have got to give you that. You are absolutely correct. If you have, as President said, $1 billion vessel going through there and the insurance company won't cover it, I wouldn't sail through there, and I can't say I blame them. So, good one, Blair. All right, we're off to a good start. I kind of like that, and we do appreciate that, Blair. Let's see, what else do we have here? Next, we got George. Oh yes, you got balls. We all know that's the most important thing to you. Like me, I'm married, brother. I'm not sure about that. All in all, we spent a whole lot of money, and now we will pay them enormous amount of money to restore their country. Most importantly, we lost American lives, you bet. But we showed them we got bigger balls. Way to go, fellas. Well, me personally, I'm gonna speak for myself, George. I didn't say liked, but I prefer Operation Midnight Hammer. All right. You go in, drop a few bunker busters on the military sites, on the sites that they're claiming are developing nuclear weapons. And then you watch everything they do with these expensive satellites we have up there that can read people's license plates in Turkey, right? And if there's an issue, you do it again. The full scale thing with the United States and our largest, most kind, if you will, ally in the region. Shaking my head now as a joke. I don't know if the full scale thing was necessary. I really don't. And I regret to say that there were lives lost, American lives lost, and do pray for their families. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. Let's take a look at the next one here. What else do we got? We got Tony. Tony, they came to the table in 2015 and we got a better deal than we have now. Hell, we don't even have a deal now. I mean, we don't have a deal now, Tony. You are absolutely correct. Okay, but let me tell you the difference, and there is a difference. They don't have an Air Force now, they don't have a Navy now. A lot of their stockpiles have been destroyed. Their centrifuges are destroyed. The scientists who developed the nuclear weapons, dead. Two levels of their regime, dead. That is a big, giant difference than the 2015 deal. Is now the United States, President Trump, the rest of them, Pete, I love war Hegseth, if you will, destroyed a lot of ordnance over there in Iran. I mean, can you imagine what it looks like over there? Probably not very nice. So at the end of the day, folks, who's got bigger balls than who, or this or that, we are here now, I regret to say. So again, as always, I'll let the folks decide. So let's see what we got next here. I think it's George. Or do we do you already, George? No, we did you already, George. Who's next here? We have Marion, and I actually know Marion. We love Marion here. Jet Brew. Marion, Trump is the best president ever. All right, Marion, let's consider this very carefully. Abraham Lincoln, okay? The Emancipation Proclamation, the amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to the Constitution, right? While there was a little thing called the Civil War going on that he let us out of. So we're going to have to give the edge to Abraham Lincoln over Donald Trump. Now, next, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. All right. He inherited the Great Depression, led us out of that. And a little thing called World War II, where he had Americans donating aluminum. He had women in the workplace working in factories making military ordnance, weapons, propellers, bombs. And he had all the companies that made cars start making airplane parts and weapons. So I'm going to have to give Franklin Delano Roosevelt the edge over Donald Trump here. But you are not the only one that argues that he may be the best president ever. Pretty good argument there. And I got one more for you, actually, and that would be Ronald Reagan cracked the Soviet Union into pieces without firing one shot. Now, I've got to give him that. I have got to give him that. So who do we have next here? We have Edward. Yes, we did do great damage. The easy part. Yet we couldn't open the strait and we were afraid to send ground forces. Trump wanted out. Look at the MOU, like his health care plan. It's a framework of a concept of a plan with all the details to be worked out later. Bravo, Edward. All right. Okay, you came at me with a smart one, and I like it. I like it a lot. So, you're right. You're right. They don't have a deal. It's an MOU. That's right. It is if you're a baseball fan, it's a trade and a player to be named later. Problem here, sir, is you got the midterms coming up. This is a very unpopular war. I'm going to give you an example of something. You see, back in 2003 or 2002, 2003, when President Bush invaded Iraq, there was congressional approval. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, voted for the use of force. The American people were so hell-bent upset about 9/11, and rightfully they should be. They didn't care who we bombed. As far as they were concerned, yep, Iraq did it. Afghanistan did it. The one-armed man did it. They didn't care. In this case, you had a president, quite frankly, promise no new wars, especially in the Middle East. He did promise that. And look where we are. And he's got the midterms coming up, and we all know what's going to happen there. If the Republicans lose the House or Senate, folks, where's that leave Donald Trump? You know he's going to get impeached every night. There's going to be an investigation after an investigation. We all know that. And the American people, so far as the polls are concerned, they oppose the war. And the messaging has been horrible. It's been horrible. When they asked the president a question like, you said no new wars, the president should have said, hey, look, circumstances change. And in this case, the circumstance changed. They developed uranium up to 60%. Now, that's very important, folks. And this is the one thing that I want everyone to focus on here for a moment. In order to have a peaceful nuclear program, the one that the deal Obama negotiated, John Kerry, right? Peaceful nuclear program. That's 6% to 9% of enriched uranium to, turn on the lights and power stuff. Okay. Not 60%. And that's the thing that nobody talks about. They enriched uranium, my dear friends and fellow Americans, up to 60. Why? They were trying to make a weapon. I just don't understand why we just don't all agree on this. They were trying to make a weapon, folks. It's exactly what they were trying to do. And quite frankly, this regime has been a nightmare. They pay proxies in the area, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, to kill people, to kill Americans. And I know this sounds like a bumper sticker or an old cliche, but they have been screaming death to America for almost 50 years. They did take hostages, put hoods over their heads, and keep them for 444 days and humiliate the president, humiliate the United States. When some people say so, Joe, because I was alive then, many of you may have been too. What do you think of the hostages that were in Iran back in 1979? You know what I say? Too soon. Too soon. That still makes me mad. Bunch of Americans with hoods on, and they're jumping up and down in the embassy. I'm sorry if that still bothers me. If I'm biased there, I am. So let me see if I can find one more here. I think this is it. Let's see. Dale, do you people think we should never put boots on the ground to end the conflicts that threaten the United States, the U.S.? If this is how you feel, we should abolish the military. Dale, as I mentioned, this war is just so unpopular, sir. Back in World War II, when, let's say, the Japanese invaded Pearl Harbor, bombed Pearl Harbor, and Germans were moving across Europe, killing everyone and everything, including the Russians, by the way. The American people were behind that. They were behind it. If a guy was dressed in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt in the early 1940s, people would say, "Hey, son, you're out of uniform." Nowadays, people don't want military funerals, Dale. They don't. They don't want ground forces. They don't want guys dying by roadside bombs and come home missing limbs. They just don't. And that's the bottom line. And they vote in the midterms. So, I mean, the president is not only fighting Iran, he's fighting the Democrats, he's fighting the midterms, and he's fighting the fact that this war in Iran, it's unpopular. And that's why there are no ground troops. Again, if you get back to George W. Bush or Iraq and Afghanistan, the Twin Towers got blown up in New York City. Planes hit them. The American people wanted someone to pay for what they saw. So his initial attack on Iraq and Afghanistan, it was celebrated. Nope. When guys come home in caskets, the American people just don't have the stomach for that nowadays. And some say maybe they shouldn't. As always, my dearest friends and fellow Americans, I greatly appreciate you hanging out, watching, and spending a little time with your pal Joe Rossano. I kindly ask you to please take a moment to adopt yourself a pet. I say God bless you. In addition, please, again, click that subscribe button, click like, click share, click the notification bell for all latest episodes of the Rossano Report. Again, adopt yourself a pet. God bless you, my dearest friends and fellow Americans, and we will see you next time.